News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini. The Kremlin says a meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky could take place if the two sides come to certain unspecified agreements. That's according to a Kremlin spokesperson who says Russia is preparing its list of conditions for a possible ceasefire with Ukraine and will exchange it with Kyiv privately. President Trump yesterday mentioned multiple times a meeting between himself and Putin could be in the offing. Earlier in the day, Trump told reporters on Air Force One he might call Putin to get peace talks on track.
I will tell you that the world is a much safer place right now, and I think in 2 or 3 weeks, we could have it be a much, much safer place.
Trump to reporters there. Early this morning, a Russian drone struck a passenger bus in Ukraine's northeast, killing 9 people and injuring others. President Trump, meantime, says he would be willing to travel to China to speak with Chinese leader Xi Jinping about foreign policy and economic issues. He commented in an interview on Fox News. Investors are keeping a close eye on the U.S. credit market after Moody's ratings lowered the U.S. credit score to AA1 from AAA and cited concerns about ballooning debt and deficits that it said would damage U.S. standing as a global capital destination and increase borrowing costs. Some economists, though, are pushing back on this, including Joe Lavorgna, SMBC Nikko Securities chief U.S. economist and a former chief economist for the National Economic Council under Trump's first administration.
You're downgrading the country that has the reserve currency. You're downgrading the country that's growing the fastest of any industrialized countries. And you're also downgrading the country that has the best productivity per capita of any country. So to do this, I'm completely nonplussed by it. It doesn't make any sense.
The White House, meantime, calls the downgrade a political decision. Stephen Chung, a spokesperson for President Trump, singled out Mark Zandi, an economist for Moody's Analytics, in a post on X, accusing Zandi of being a longtime critic of the administration's policies. Negotiations continue this weekend after, in a very unusual move, the House Budget Committee rejected President Trump's tax and spending bill 21-16, with 4 Republican reps joining Democrats to vote against it. The committee is planning to meet again late tomorrow night, with House leaders trying to broker a compromise between moderates and ultra-conservatives. Higher close for U.S. stocks yesterday. U.S. consumer sentiment, though, fell to the second lowest level on record, with the preliminary May sentiment, as measured by the University of Michigan, declining. Joanne Su, Director of Surveys at the University of Michigan.
We've been seeing a rising share of consumers spontaneously mentioning tariffs. A few months ago, it was really a fairly small number of people, and now it's almost 3/4. It's cutting across partisan lines. It's really on everyone's minds. And at this point, consumers are really waiting for the other shoe to drop in terms of its impact on inflation.
And Sue there on the Bloomberg Intelligence podcast. We'll get a better feel this coming week of how tariffs are impacting consumer sentiment. Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, the owner of TJ Maxx, and Ralph Lauren all report quarterly results. We'll also be getting a bunch of reports on the housing market. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang is expressing confidence in his company's trade partners and says there's no evidence of its prized semiconductors being diverted to the Chinese market. He tells Bloomberg Nvidia's hardware is too large to be easily smuggled across borders, and its customers are aware of the rules and self-monitoring. Separately, the Trump administration and members of Congress are reportedly worried about a deal to put a Chinese company's artificial intelligence on iPhones. New York Times says tension between the U.S. and China could impede Apple's plans for AI features in China. Multiple people are dead in St. Louis and other parts of Missouri. Search and rescue underway after a powerful tornado swept through the region. Fire Commissioner Dennis Jenkerson.
We have 17 search teams in place that are searching a coordinated grid, if you will, that's reporting back to a command post so we can track everything that they do. They are searching with the police department, who's providing assistance.
Thousands of homes damaged. The strike at New Jersey Transit, one of the biggest transit agencies in the country, is now dragging into the weekend after rail engineers walked off the job Friday morning early, forcing commuters like Jason Basil to find alternatives.
I got to basically pay for 2 ways now. I'm already paying a monthly, so now I'm double paying for my commute, plus parking, plus trying to navigate all this that I don't normally take.
And New Jersey Transit trains carry about 350,000 commuters on weekdays. The talks right now scheduled to resume tomorrow. And that's News When You Want It with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini, and this is Bloomberg.